American values.
I see men and girls sports leagues is on here.
Oh. Watching all of Vice videos. I wish there was like more stuff like what Vice did though. I know people have a lot of opinions on Vice. I get it.
Good afternoon.
Plenty
My
of
name is
reason to.
Mike McCarter, and I'm the
But I do like
president
a lot of their docs.
Move Oregon's Border and Citizens for Greater Idaho.
Oregonians
We
would
are
rather join
blessed
Idaho than
as
be a
rural
liberal state.
Oregonians
Yep.
to have Idaho
Eastern Oregon's
as our
very
sister
different.
state. And we're coming to you today to say, please adopt rural Oregon.
What Mike McCarter wants to do
Please
is
adopt.
a little crazy. He's hoping to get Oregon and Idaho to move their border hundreds of miles to the west
east. Yeah.
with a little
Oh my god, and change Oregon to being this size? Oh my lord. Yeah, that's like all of eastern and southern Oregon, which is all like much more of the red area. This stuff is too, but far less than eastern
piece
Oregon.
of Washington and Northern California as well. His plan would eventually make Idaho the
That would
third
be
largest state in the
Ugliest looking fucking state, by the way.
country.
And that's never gonna happen.
States have moved boundaries before, but nothing this major in more than a century. A number of officials in Idaho have embraced the idea.
The addition of landmass, the resources. There are some appealing things to Idahoans to consider this.
Idahoans.
So have many people in rural Oregon. Earlier this year, 7 counties voted to back the plan.
The momentum has picked up and it is moving. It has got a life of its own
Why do you want to move Oregon's border?
because we have no input. The majority has the agenda in the state legislature and they control everything.
And to be
Yeah,
fair, I
he's good.
understand that that aspect, and that's why, as we've often talked about, things like this here is like dampen federal power, mainly only towards the protection of the citizens, which does mean defense as well. Not that I necessarily want the military, but it's not going away immediately. But also by defense, I also mean from one another, right? And also ensuring that rights never get changed and are a baseline and can only be added upon to. And where other practical political means, and things like climate crisis and stuff, like obviously things that the federal government would need to be involved in to make sure that we can continue moving, but it doesn't need to be as powerful as it is, right? It doesn't need all this much federal power, and that's why you make local communities stronger. If some farmers wanted to be a little Chud-like, but, you know, for the most part, accepted people for who they were and whatnot, and didn't do anything like that, or didn't harm anyone, and people wanted to have good local politics that makes sure that, like, small farmers like this are getting their fair share and unionized, and I don't know if he's actually a farmer, but things that affect them, especially monetarily, like things like that should be the case. Local politics should be the thing that he's more worried about in his life, but because of state and federal levels, many people feel very alienated from the system. Don't fix gerrymandering, just make your state bigger. Got it. Yeah, basically.
When Oregon
Redistrict
legislature
that.
proposes to maybe limit diesel for equipment, when I hear that we need to look at a different way of collecting property taxes to make it more equitable, this scares the crap out of me.
It's clearly no fun to be in the minority in the state, but that's the hard work of governance, is to figure out a way to have a
Absolutely.
voice even when you're not in the majority. Aren't you kind of walking away from that?
Are we giving up on it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's not that we can't possibly stay in this state. It's a fact that we have the option to make a change. And right now, the option for a lot of people is to pack it up and to move.
And you could do that, right? I mean,
I
nothing's
can do
stopping
it.
you from doing
I
that.
can do it, but I love where I live.
There's no question the group is serious. What's harder
Oregon
to
is
tell
beautiful,
is
man.
how seriously the rest of the
Gotta
country
do.
should take them. The disenfranchisement that many rural Americans are feeling these days is real, particularly in states where big liberal cities hold a lot of power. But the group's solution of separate states for separate political views seems primed to only worsen that alienation, not heal it.
Political power has really leaned towards those counties in and around Portland, which gives much more power to the city. And that really does mean that there is a
Also,
crisis of
the
political.
fact that, and this is just like electoral, not electoral politics, but actually, I was going to say electoral college, but that's not at the state level. No, but just, however, even at a state level, is also why you still need to go down even more local too. But even then, it's not. The problem about this type of stuff is like I was saying about, if it wasn't just for social issues or things like that, then it might be, and that way they could focus on like monetary stuff, as long as the federal government, ideally, right, made sure that like people's rights weren't being abused, and we're not gonna all die, basically. But even at a state government level, the problem is that the density of people are all in Portland, and that's fine. I'm all for the much more leftist types in Portland and whatnot. Not necessarily the libs that run it, but to do that, sorry, where's the word? To ignore people of the rural areas, like rural Oregon, Eastern Oregon, or Southern Oregon, or of anywhere, is that you alienate them, and these people are also of the working class. It's not good praxis to shove them aside, even though I know many people want to. And I understand the feeling, because it's exhausting dealing with chud-like behavior and ideas. But there are valid complaints, and most of the time, if their needs were being met, they wouldn't be as easily agitated by propagandists like Tucker Carlson or others. That was what I was going to say, though, is the main thing. Is like, even if they were still being represented properly, I do fear that because of agitation, like racial agitation that Tucker Carlson puts out, or many of the different types on Fox News, Breitbart, and the like, I don't know if they'd still be able to, I don't know if it would help, but I think it would help at least a little, because that alienation from their labor, from their state and land and everything, like, and the people around them, makes it feel like kind of like we were talking about with people going down alt-right pipeline or through white nationalism. They get alienated, and then they just continue to dig this bigger hole for themselves that they can't get out of. And that's why we need to think about those things and not just push people off.
Representation for people in Eastern Oregon.
Are these guys extremists, or is this just kind of an extreme way to get a legitimate
I
point
don't think
across?
they're extremists, yeah.
There's nothing extreme in and of itself in the idea of wanting to move an arbitrary state border. But you'll hear people from the greater Idaho movement say, this is
The
really
Greater
just
Idaho
about
movement.
rural values versus urban values. And suddenly you're into a conversation about undocumented immigrants and abortion rights.
And then it becomes this.
Thanks for taking us out here.
That's what I was.
Immigrants. And
That's the unfortunate part. Because hell, if we fucking paid immigrants, illegal or not, more, made it mandatory that we had to, and then just fucking kick them out of the country, then these companies could not take advantage of those people, and then everyone would have to be at the same price. And so they probably, a lot of the times, would pick Americans. Not saying that they always should, but I think that would also help. And secondly, my dad, a union man who also has some not great takes on immigration sometimes, still even brought up a very valid point. If they're not doing it, other Americans aren't going to do it either, because it's back-breaking work that no one wants to do. They're just afraid. Again, it comes down to like afraid of like people and things they don't know. And it's sad. But, you know, like watching Ted Cruz yesterday talk about like these immigrants coming into their yard and they're afraid. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a couple anecdotes that actually did happen like that, but like, we know that's not the norm. So, and most of this fear is based off of agitation promoted through many different forms of media, from social media memes, Tucker Carlson, from all of Fox News, all of Breitbart, etc., 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 right? Similarly with abortion rights, people feel very fervently about that too. But it's not affecting them either, and that's what's so fucking annoying about it.
Abortion rights.
Thanks for taking us out here.
I told you it was a ways out, man. Go ahead and introduce
Well,
yourselves.
my name's Josh.
I'm Doc Dow.
Some of Greater Idaho's biggest supporters are ranchers like Doc Dow and his crew.
And we've got a total of 32,000 deeded acres in Oregon, and we're being dictated to by people who know nothing about ranching, by people who have no idea how we make a living. A lot of those people think that a T-bone steak comes from Costco.
Wait, what?
How popular would you say this movement is?
By people
Who thinks this?
who know nothing about
Politicians?
ranch.
Sure.
Go ahead and introduce
Well,
yourselves.
my name's Josh.
I'm Doc Dow.
Some of Greater Idaho's biggest supporters are ranchers like Doc Dow and his crew.
And we've got a total of 32,000 deeded acres in Oregon, and we're being dictated to by people who know nothing about ranching, by people who have no idea how we make a living. A lot of those people think that a T-bone steak comes from Costco.
How popular would you say this movement is?
This valley
Oh, I
through
see
here,
what
every
he's saying
rancher
now.
through here, they're all for
He's
it.
saying that he just thinks that the steaks are born at Costco.
Really?
basically.
They're all for it.
Oh, you got a brochure now.
Yeah, I've got a brochure.
Yeah.
Look at the inside.
Lower overall taxes, less regulation and interference, less unemployment and cost of living, no
Gotta look for
arsonists
that
or rioters
video.
set free. That one seems like a new one, a new addition to the American value. No arsonists or rioters. Overall taxes, less regulation and interference.
Through here, every rancher through here, they're all for it.
Really?
They're all for it.
Oh, you got a brochure now.
Yeah, I've got a brochure.
Yeah.
Look at the inside.
Lower overall taxes, less regulation and interference, less unemployment and cost of living,
No.
no
overall?
arsonists or rioters set free.
Hold on.
That one's you got a brochure.
Okay.
Comes from Costco.
How
Through here, every
I
rancher
wanted to
through
see
here,
the
they're
others.
all for
I
it.
heard
Really?
the last
They're all
one,
for
which
it.
is ridiculous. But
Oh, you got a brochure now.
Yeah, I've got a brochure.
Yeah.
Look at the inside.
Lower overall taxes, less regulation and interference.
so he said no overall taxes. Okay. So I'm guessing you don't want your subsidies either. But yeah, okay, we'll give you no taxes. Even though, like, again, leftists want to lower your taxes and raise them on other people who are not you. But okay. About this. do they? You had me in the first half. Not, I mean, it's not even like. I mean, I'm fine with lowering taxes for, you know, the underprivileged and the people who need help, and you know that might be them too. And we need farmers, and especially like local ones, you know. So I'm for that, but no unemployment. So I guess you want more crime. You want more people to starve, which is not eat your food. You want more people to commit crimes because what does cause crime? Not having money and being in a poor socioeconomic condition. So these guys are big crime watchers. They say no
A
arsonist.
rioter set free. That one seems like a
No
new.
arsonist or rioters set free. Which is interesting. I'm guessing to them they'd probably consider anyone that protests a rioter, but I can tell you people were not just being set free, they were being taken to like random locations illicitly in Portland. Like random by cops. Trust me, they're doing plenty about that. And many of these people were just protesting. It's amazing how, like, the diesel thing was, like, the most applicable to their situation. Or, like, acres. And I understand that. There's ways to work around it, but, like, dude, it's either that or your kids who are all gonna die because of the climate crisis. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want? And, like, are you telling me you are not seeing that still? And at this point, they're just denying it. But I understand, like, sometimes you, like, may need to rework some things like that, and sometimes it's not tenable. But, like, again, like what we said with, and they brought up abortion and stuff, none of this shit affects you, dude. These guys don't even, they probably never, like, hardly ever go into Portland for the first thing. And, like, none of them have probably ever seen a rioter, protester, or fucking arsonist. It's just so mind-blowing.
American values. I see men and girls sports leagues is on here.
Oh. Shut up. Men and girls sports leagues. Lordy. Just ripped a small hole in my shorts, okay? I'm naked. Not actually Twitch, chill out. Yeah, okay. I mean, you guys already know this one. Again, nothing that affects them. So, I presume these people think that their daughters are going to get beat up by what they'd imagine is like a burly man or whatever. In fucking wrestling or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so out of touch. Like, why do these people? It's just at this point, like, it's just like power. Like, you just want to like fuck with everyone's life. Like, you talk about like want people out of yours, but you're just all for like, yeah, you know, these things that don't have nothing to do with us or a profession or like the normal complaint that we pretend to care about. It's actually just all these reactionary views. Sorry, like
Some of this just feels
like some of it was like actual substance, and then you could tell like all of it just went like down just through like because they're watching constant ad
like almost an emotional response, a feeling of frustration.
Well, it really is that too. Every day we get up, we got a challenge. Something breaks, cow, there's something like that.
Gotta fight
So
so
we got
many
enough responsibility.
trans
Then you
women
got the
and
government coming in
girls sports.
and trying to take our freedoms away. You know, our Second Amendment right, and then
Wait,
our
what?
First Amendment right.
When did they,
You
no
know,
one's
our
taking your guns
responsibility.
away?
Then you got the government coming in and trying to take our freedoms away. You know, our Second Amendment right, and then our First Amendment right. Unless you're a libtard or a Democrat, our
Liberty. Oh, yeah. He said libtard and it says libertarian. Ay. Oh, true KEKW moment, guys. It's also just sad that they're unironically saying libtard still.
Amendment right.
I don't know when they were. I forgot which Oregon law, by the way, makes it so you can't use your freedom of speech.
First Amendment right, unless you're a libtard or a Democrat, our say doesn't matter.
Do you think that rural America?
That's not what the First Amendment is, dude. First Amendment is not your words matter. It means we're not going to arrest you and throw you in jail because of your words. Chill the fuck. Jesus. Such little crybabies, dude.
and
It's so
urban America
pathetic.
are essentially two different Americas.
People
Actually, I
like
do.
this. Also, he's wearing a U.S. Navy hat. We don't take him. Nope. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Chief. You're out. Like, what? What is your whole point? This is, again, just shit that does not affect them. People from Eastern Oregon is very far away from, like, the rest of Oregon. Eastern and Southern Oregon, hours long drive just to get out there. Like, and it's a big state. It's it's not as big as some of the others like Texas and stuff, but it's actually surprisingly larger than a lot of eastern states too. They have no need and probably rarely, well, they probably sell product in Portland, but they're rarely going there. These things do not do anything to them. They're just crying about it because it's a scary world that they don't understand.
Two different Americas.
Yeah. Good America and bad America.
Oh my God.
For as certain as supporters feel about the plan, it's almost definitely not going to happen. It would first have to be approved by the legislatures of all of the states involved, and the federal government. It would also need the support of the majority of residents in those states. So far, the 7 counties in Oregon that voted in favor of it amount to less than 3% of the population.
This is the proposed border along the Maine to Deschutes River. The other side would be Idaho, and this side would stay Oregon.
Do you think what's happening here in Oregon is representative?
I do believe in promoting anarcho-syndicalism.
Of broader issues across the country?
Another person, though, banned from $27. I gotta check out. Oh, Central Committee. Oh, lovely. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I like unions. I'm sorry. I like workers.
Honestly think so. You look at the last 2 presidential maps and you see massive red, but then you see the blue pockets around, and those blue pockets are the ones that do the voting.
Hey man, I don't know.
Talking about
I didn't ban you yet.
a series of policy differences, but in a way what you're describing is a cultural gap between
It is.
rural Oregon
It's
and
funny with
urban.
Central Committee, though. I can't fucking.
Go back to the Civil War. That's a values type situation that took on there.
Do you see
Robo, chill, please. Guys, I was answering a question to a chatter. I'm coming right back. You're here. Yeah, apparently.
parallels between that
I
time and
do,
this one?
I do, but I want to keep it away from the violent side. Can't we just exist together as humans?
Says the
People are
guy whose
trying
solution
to.
is for rural Oregon to be cleaved off and join a more rural.
Thank you, Robo. No, I understand wanting to move on. I know it's drama. I don't usually cover drama, which is also part of why I wanted to kind of go away from it too, Pooh God. Funny username, by the way. I don't make hating Destiny my whole like character arc here. Some people do, not calling out some people, but I will look at this. I'll get you your answer. We'll move on, guys.
State.
Again, it's nothing more than
I get it,
moving.
Zero.
I think if you don't
Political drama
value
can be
our
annoying.
input, you don't value our concerns, then let us go.
You know what's also annoying, guys? The 2 minutes of ads that you can avoid. And I know that's a lot, but listen. It turns off pre-roll ads for other new chatters because the ads are coming either way, which for that, you can avoid the ads. You can subscribe for $5 or use your Twitch Prime. Help me out. It is super helpful and I always appreciate it. You don't have to though. You can always, of course, use an ad blocker or a VPN. I have 2 ad blockers, one for Firefox, one for Chrome, both linked in my chat. There you go. I'm actually pretty lucky with that because I have the GI Bill, which has covered. I might have to. I did pay about $2,000 into some